Hi everyone, how are you? I have my phone propped up on a little box and everything because I can't get it as close because I have my visual aids for all of our discussions tonight. I want to tell you, I dug up this from the 1940s, you know, a glass thermometer for the rectal thermometer taking variety. And some Aquaphor to lube it up, and digital, and a Tymphanic, and I'll talk to you all about those. I'll even take my own rectal temperature for you guys right here on this channel, and that'll be a first for... I'm kidding. I'm kidding, okay? Oh, that'd be funny though, wouldn't it? Huh? So anyway, thank you so much for getting me over the 500 hump, because I never imagined I'd make it past the 100, and then the 200, I was like, oh, what? Who wants to hear what I have to say? Because I usually talk to myself, but I talk to the clouds too. I'm a huge cloud watcher. I think there is so much beauty in clouds. I mean, they're the most underrated thing ever. I mean, clouds are just freaking beautiful. I take pictures of clouds all the time. My husband gets really, I don't know, bored, frustrated, disgusted with me and my need to show him different clouds outside and what they're doing. And sometimes the clouds aren't behaving properly and I don't know who to call. It's not a 1-800 cloud not behaving number. But I mean, clouds are cool, you know? I just got to tell you that. And, you know, back when I was on the rat race, you know, young, have little kids and working and trading off the kids so that, because that's the way that it was, you know, when I was young, my kids were young, I'd work all day and he'd drive the kids to work and we'd switch off. I'd take the kids home and I'd usually stop at a park on the way home or something, you know, and then we'd have dinner, watch some TV, have baths, whatever, and then I'd go to sleep. You know, we were, I mean, I guess that was 80s, 90s, you know, like the way we were back then when we were worker bees, we couldn't say what day we wanted off and like demand it, like these little attitude-ridden, you know, I don't even know how to say it because they have all these things that they do. I mean, like when they are in an interview even and they're like, they command which days you're going to give them off. And if you don't, they're not going to come to work. So, I mean, when I was in a position, you know, before the pandemic and I was, you know, in management, you know, doing the hiring. And I love to give anybody a chance. I mean, I hired some people that probably not a lot of people would have. But you know what? I believe in people who want a job. They should, but honestly, when you get these ones and they're like, okay, I need this, this, and this off. And you're like, okay, those are kind of the hours that I'm hiring for. Kind of the most busy hours. And they're like, yeah, but I can't work those because... So anyway, I digress. What I'm saying is like, you know, that's the way it was. Is back then, you know, a lot of us, you know, when you're trying to make ends meet, you're like 2 ships passing in the night, you know, because you can't afford daycare. You know, you have to work opposite shifts. And if it ever occurs that you have a day off together, well, then you take the kids to the zoo or something like that, you know, and yeah, you make the best of it. Those were the days. So anyway, I was just thinking back to those days and how I would wish that I could just take one day off and just lay down in the grass somewhere and look at the clouds all day long and just watch the clouds. I just think they're so cool. But I hate bugs and I hate spiders and everything else. And I got an asshole tick on me today. Like I was sitting there by the river and I said to my son, I'm like, oh, I feel like there's a bug on my back. I don't know, it's a little tickle. And he's like, yeah, it's a tick. I'm like, oh God. So I hope I got it soon enough. But then I looked down and there's another tick on my arm. Got ticks all over this year. They're just freaking horrible. So, I mean, I wasn't even in the grass. That's the only problem is, like, I want to look at the clouds all day, but freaking so many bugs. So, like, I want to, like, I don't know. Because I like clouds in the summer. The winter clouds are kind of boring, and they just kind of like hang out, sit there, don't really do anything. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, clouds are cool. Do you guys think so, too? Are y'all cloud watchers too? So anyway, when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about tonight, I was just getting my props ready here and kind of, you know, making sure that I had my information all polished up and everything for you guys so that I'm not just pulling facts out of my ass. Anyway, Mia popped up. I just love Mia. I would like to have a very good conversation with her one of these days because I think she's a very neat lady. And I like the way that, you know, like, she shows, like, other things that she does, too, and she likes to sing. And I can't remember the app that she goes on, and you can sing with other people, and so you can do, like, a duet, and I've listened to Mia sing, and I think it's so cool, and I would like to do that, too, but I really suck. I can't sing. I would upset the person who was trying to do a duet. They'd be like, oh, sorry, our internet froze, then click, muted and blocked, something like that. Ooh, I need to sip my tea. Anywho, once I went down a rabbit hole once listening to Mia sing because I went on that app and then I saw these other people that you can listen to them sing, and I mean they're just normal people and they upload themselves singing, and some are really, really good. Some not so much, but they're trying. I can't remember what the app was, but the app was like $10 a month or something. So I was like, yeah, I'll do my free trial. And I got to remember to, you know, oh gosh, it's going to come to me. What is the name of the app? Mia, if you're listening, what's the name of the app? Please put that in the comments or somebody else. It's something really easy. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But anywho, when I popped onto Mia, I heard her talking about Dr. Phil. And it was a couple of things that, like, I wish I was on the panel. I would have been like, oh, Mia, no. Oh, this is this. Oh, she's a very smart lady. Very smart. I learned a lot from Mia. But on the Dr. Phil thing, it's kind of been a bashing of his credentials. So it's been in the headlines and whatnot that he's not a real doctor and whatnot. What had actually happened here is something we can all relate to. And, okay, so he was, he's an actual, a doctor of psychology. So he was a psychologist, and he had a practice, a family practice. So he did family counseling and individual counseling back in the 70s and 80s. And if y'all recall, Oprah used to get him on, and it used to piss me the fuck off because they would lay out this whole problem. You know, Oprah would, you know, take, you know, almost a whole hour talking about it, and then they'd pop his bald ass on, and he'd say in 4 minutes or less what was wrong with them, and I was disgusted. I wanted to hear more. I wanted to understand where he was coming from his said expertise as an expert on the subject of psychology, and a psychologist, as they called him, Dr. Phil, and they announced him as such when he was on Oprah. And, you know, and he would refer to his practice and his family counseling. And I really thought it was irresponsible what he was doing in the little 5-minute, you know, here's what's wrong. here's how you're going to fix it. And I just saw an opportunity for there to be so much more learning, and I wasn't getting the learning that I was hoping for, you know, from said psychological expert coming on. And so I was really not happy. And so it became that I had, later on, after the trolls find out who I am, they'll probably find some stuff and whatnot, and I will explain kind of some of the things that I've done in my life. And until then, I'll just have to make innuendos. So as it happened, Dr. Phil was getting his channel when I had done some political work and had received national recognition for, and I was even nominated for Red Book Woman of the Year, but because I was pregnant, I couldn't fly to New York City to accept my award, so I had to pass that honor along. And other things, but anyway, Dr. Phil was getting his own show. So the producers called me up and asked if I'd be on the show. And I was like, fuck no. No. What the hell? I'm not going to have him sit there and lay my shit bare in 4 minutes or less and not look at the whole thing. Have him misunderstand my message. And no, you tell that bald fuck, no. You tell the bald fuck I'm not going to be on his show. I don't approve what he's doing. I think it's cheap and shitty. No, no, no. And a lot of people would do it for the free trip to California and everything. But, you know, as I was a West Coastie anyway, I didn't give a fuck. So anyway, I said no. I said no. And then I saw his show, and I really grew to like it in the beginning. I feel like he helped a lot of people who were in a lot of situations, especially like those twin drug addicts, and the one family that he really helped, you know, when the teenage girl was pregnant at 15, and the mom and the dad had issues, and they took the dad all the way to Germany to meet his biological relatives and stuff. I mean, they really did a lot with that family and whatnot. I mean, the daughter became a little brat, though, because she got that brand new truck from Dr. Phil and everything. But anyway, I mean, I really do feel like overall he really did help. And I just love his wife. And I like what she does for foster homes and how she really promotes the CASA program. If you are in an area and you could look up and see if there's a program for a CASA, like I'm saying, like the Spanish word for house, like CASA. It's a court-appointed special advocate, I think is what it's called. And what it is that you are assigned a teenager in distress, you know, who is going through foster homes and whatnot, and needs to have somebody on their side when they go to court. And so you are a court-appointed special advocate, and you can kind of advocate for that child. That's the way that I interpret that to be, and as I was one of those children who could have damn well used an advocate, that would have been a program I would be interested in. And I've always put it on my bucket list to do that. And now that, I mean, almost all of my kids are, you know, growing and going into college. I just got my little last year here with one of my little stragglers. But anyway, you know, I have more and more time. And so I would like to do that. And I would strongly urge anybody to do that if that is in their area. And I only heard of that program because of what his wife did on the show. And so, anywho, I really came to like his work. And I'll have to tell you guys about this one time. And I actually called the show and explained the situation, and they were like, yeah, this is right up our alley. We want to do this and whatnot. And their interviewing process is in fucking tense. And I mean, you like basically have to stop, drop, and roll, because if they're going to get you on the show, it's going to be like in 72 hours, you're going to be on a plane. You're not going to have time to change anything. No one's going to have any time to change the situation and what it is. They're going to have their film crew there, and it goes fast. And you just pretty much have to, you know, just be focused on paying attention to all of the questions that are asked, all of the paperwork that they send to you. It's very, very, very deep. They look they look deep, and they really do an intensive background search on you, and so they make sure that, you know, they're not going to put you on the show and then look like a jerk, because here you are really doing something really not congruent to what the show focus was, and give you a platform for something that really is not in their toolbox, maybe? I don't know what to say in that. But it's really, really interesting. Well, I don't want to get into the story tonight, because you guys will just laugh your asses off. But anyway, of course, the fuckers on the other side of my issue refused to go on the show. Bunch of fucking Satan sister ass bitches. Anyway, oh my God, you guys are like, tell me now. Well, okay, so, oh my God. Okay, we had just moved, and the kids were starting school, and the school bus stop was across the street, and there were all these kids there. I had no idea where all these kids came from, but there were all these kids running around. And I'm standing there with my 3 kids, getting them ready to go on the bus the first day and whatnot. And these bitches, which were my neighbors, but like I say, Satan's sisters, they were really bitchy, and they really made it clear that they were not interested in becoming my friend. And it was really weird. I felt like I was in junior high all over again. And the cool kids didn't like me, and they were very cliquish. And I didn't quite understand what was going on, but it was like, whatever. So, okay, I got ignored, whatever. It's their big fucking day, whatever. So, you know, that after school, bus came home, all right. That went on for a couple of days. Well, all these kids that were running over, just running and just pushing and shoving, and just horrible, rough kids, right? And these bitches were not paying any attention to them, so I didn't think that they were their spawn. I had no reason to think that they were their spawn. I didn't know. And so by day 4, my kids didn't want to go out there on the bus. And I'm like, why not? And they told me what was going on the bus. And the kids, those kids, like frickin' Lord of the Flies ass kids, were telling my kids that they were fat and ugly. And my child who has cerebral palsy, they were calling him the R word. Okay? Now you can barely even tell this kid has CP, but he does move the speed of a turtle. I'll make sure he's not listening. He moves kind of slow sometimes. But you can't tell. And I mean, and a lot of times with boys, when they're young, they do get chubby before they grow tall. Their skin kind of gets ready to stretch. So it's not uncommon to have, you know, your kids be kind of chubby. I mean, they're not overweight now, you know, it's like, so anyway, they told me these horrible kids were telling them all that, and calling them the R word, and telling them they were fat and ugly. And so I marched my ass out there the next morning with my kids, and I'm like, no, like, they're not going to say that. And, you know, once again, all these kids are out there, and no one's paying attention to them, so I don't think that their parents are out there or anything. Why would I think so? So I go up to these kids, and I'm like, hi, my name is this. These are my children. These are their names. That's the only thing that you're allowed to call them. And if you ever call him the R word again, or you refer to my kids as fat or ugly again, we're going to have a real problem, and I'm going to come and talk to your parents. I don't think you want me to do that, right? Well, Satan's sisters turned the fuck around, and it wasn't even a one-on-one fight. There were 4 of them. To me, they circled me, and each of them had 2 that were their own, and the one who was responsible for 11 of those kids was running a, Christian daycare, and those were her daycare kids that she was not paying any attention to. So, in front of my kids, I'm about to get my ass kicked by, 4 women. And they've got me, pretty much circled. And, I was like, okay, my kids get on the bus. My kids are looking at me and I'm like, don't worry, And they circled me. And it was ugly. I didn't mind, telling all 4 of them off at the same time. But they were, like, circling me, and then they went and got a couple other neighbors, of the kids that were out there and whatnot, and had them. So then I had 6 on 1 yelling at me, and I walked across the street back to my house. And what do you know? What do you know? Within 10 minutes, I've got the police at my door. And I didn't care. Told them exactly what happened. Well, all 6 of them had a different thing, that I walked out there like I was on drugs and I was threatening small children. So nope. I told them exactly what had happened. I told them exactly how the women had been treating me and exactly what it was. And they were really cool. They sat down and they were like, well, here you go. You're new in the neighborhood. These ones, have a habit of this, there's some kind of chaos going on in this neighborhood. We've been called before. You're the flavor of the week. They're hazing you, and they're going to haze your kids. And the sidewalk out there is public. You have every right to stand there and wait for your kids. And stand there with pride. You did nothing wrong. That bullying needs to be stopped, because if it's not, then those kids go on, and then they're in the juvenile they're in the juvenile detention center and whatnot. They're like, you know what? Parents don't parent. And so then they end up having to be the parent, and they get those kids saying the same thing and whatnot, and it doesn't end well. And I said, you know what? I said it really was that the kids were acting to me the way their moms were acting. It was really interesting. And to see that bullying really is learned and patterned. And I was really upset. It really hurt. It really hurt me. And so, I went and I did what I do. I started writing it out. Started researching and looked into bullying being a cyclical problem that, like I had kind of thought about with when I talked about Barry, the school shooter, and how in my school that I grew up in a small town, the popular kids went on to become teachers so that they could pass through the popular kids, those football players, those cheerleaders, the popular ones, so that the teachers and the popular kids and the teachers and the popular kids were a continued thing, and that anybody who wasn't in that little crowd of about 15 in each grade was just seen as dog shit. So it really made me look into things, and I was like, wow, those bitches didn't grow up. They are stuck in like junior high, and they must have been in their little Mean Girls Club back then, and they think they're hot shit now. And I was like, wow. So I started, really looking into it, and I wrote a big paper about how it really seemed to be a cyclical thing, and I sent it to Dr. Phil. Okay. Now, the afternoon transpired, because I was just trying to calm myself and did that, and just thought, wonder if Dr. Phil's ever heard of this, and wonder if he's ever going to do a show on it, and, it'd be really cool to look at, so like I say, that's just kind of how I calmed my nerves, for the next 4 hours. Well, my husband, as sweet as he is, came home early because he didn't want me to go back out there that afternoon. And I was like, no, I am going. This is a fucking challenge. If I stay in for right now, I could never go back out there. I have to go out there, and I have to be strong. And he's like, okay, I'm going to watch. If anything happens, I've got you. I'm like, okay, watch from the window. Well, I started walking and they had it all planned out. And one of them charged me with her vehicle and almost ran me over. She full on veered at 80 miles an hour on the wrong side of the road. And like pushed, like when I was crossing the street. So basically, like if I was a car, would have ran me off the road, but they ran my body, you know, into the lawn. Did not hit me, you know, did not make contact, but charged me, you know, in a way that I had to run and jump to not be hit. And called me names and whatnot. And my husband came out and he was like, what the fuck? And he went to try and talk to him and be like, what are you doing? And they were doing their little bullshit lies. And, oh, yeah, well, she yelled at us. And she was threatening all of these little children. And the daycare one was like, this is my livelihood. And those are my kids. And I've raised them. And their parents look up to me. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'd like to talk to each one of the parents right now because, no, I couldn't say that. But it's like, yeah, maybe you should know that Christian daycare lady from hell doesn't watch your kid and is turning, you know, basically letting them all watch each other and being Lord of the frickin' Flies. So, I updated my email to Dr. Phil and was like, I was just almost killed. What do I do next? And his producers were frickin' on it. Okay? They were on it. Like white on rice. His producers called me up, and like I say, I mean, it was like the next, 24 hours were just intense, going over everything I've ever experienced in my life. Just really, they go deep with you. And, they had a crew in the area. You know, they reach out to affiliates and whatnot. So a couple of news crews came out, or like recon or whatever, and sat at my house, you know, and sat there and kind of filmed, which was fucking hilarious because I had big eyes on me. And every day I'd just go out and I would stand there and they'd all ignore me because they knew that there was something weird because there were these really big trucks at my house with really big cameras because they were getting all the details. You know, they were just kind of looking at the area and, you know, so they could do B-roll footage of the neighborhood and kind of, you know, basically what was the dynamic of what was happening and whatnot. And so they told me, you know, not to, you know, make any contact with them. Just, you know, keep doing as I was doing and whatever. Well, and they had it all planned out that I was going to be on a different airplane than them. But all of them were going to go. And so it was all ready and everything. And well, guess what? The night before I got the call, you know, we were supposed to go to the airport the next day. I'm like, I'm not driving with them, you know, obviously. Like I say, we're going to be on different planes, different whatever. You know, we weren't talking about the fact that, hey, we're all heading to California in the morning. I got the call from the producers and every single one of them canceled and refused to talk to them further. Chicken ass shits. So, that's my Dr. Phil experience. But the fact that I had the camera crew and everything, I'm telling you, no one even looked at us sideways, you know, the whole time we were at that house for 2 years. You know, it was just basically, you know, I'd go there, they wouldn't talk to me, and they kept their back to me and whatnot, and I thought it was a really, really horrible thing, the way that they were modeling that behavior to their kids, and, you know, over the years, as I kind of caught up with, you know, how their kids are and whatnot, the daycare lady's daughter is just known through the community as a frickin' mean girl, and, I don't think those are Christian values at all, right? And I just kind of felt like, I was like, there's something really omnipresent here. Like, the way that they treated me was beyond mean. It had this weird heaviness, right? So I went to, you know, I was like shopping and whatnot, and I don't know. I just started like chatting up some lady because I liked her necklace or whatever. And it turned out she was like a shaman and a healer. And she was an MLM. It all comes full circle. So she wanted me to talk to me more about how I could make money just from the comfort of my house. And, you know, basically people buy things every day and blah, blah, blah. So it was freaking horrible because she would not leave me alone. But I kept trying to get her back to the subject at hand because she said that she wanted me to talk to somebody who she knew was in the area and was really into the metaphysical aspects of what had happened with Native American wars and whatnot. And I kept trying to get the woman to shut up about how, you know, we could be making all this money right now. You know, surely somebody's like ordering even a refrigerator. And if I had this little at-home mall all set up, you know, I'd be making like $400 as I'm standing here talking, you know. And makeup? Oh, yeah. Well, if I want to sell, you know, it looks like I wear makeup. If I want to sell makeup, you know, they've got a makeup line and everything. It was the new, I don't want to say the word, but it starts with an A. It ends with a Y. They restructured, so they have like this whole like online thing. So all of the products that people order are given, you know, a percentage to if they go through your website. So anyway, I ran into a freaking hall and I'm going, God, I don't know about this neighborhood. But anyway, yeah, the chick that she told about came over like 2 days later. And she had brought this other woman with her. And I really hope Mia's, because it's how it started, because I was listening to Mia talking about Dr. Phil. I hope that Mia is still listening, because this is really, when I first found Mia, I saw that she had done some work with paranormal, and I was really interested in it, because I've got some interesting stories on that. Of course I do, right? Of course, right? So anyway, these two women walked around, and then they started like, but super loud, right? I can't do it right now because everybody's asleep here and I'm just sitting in the dark talking to myself. They were talking in tongues, and they were really violently talking in tongues, and it was real freaky. And it really was scaring those bitches across the street. Anyway, they kept doing it, and then they were like moving their hands, and then they took my hand too, and the three of us walked the property, and they felt that there was a portal to hell in the street. I mean, I thought it was just like a jar for the sewer, and you know, the sewer's in the road. I had no idea it was a portal to hell. But anyway, they really felt that, you know, there had been some Indian wars there, and the clashing of women in those wars, and horrible things happening to women in that way, they felt. And so they burned sage, and we walked around and, you know, and spiritually sealed the property, so that essentially nothing could get in where we sealed. So we walked the whole property at its borders, so that the evil bitches across the fucking street, their negative energy could not penetrate my protection zone. And I mean, of course, it's just the concept of that mostly being what really helps me, but it helped. Just that whole thought about that, right? And a couple more details that I can't tell you right now because it'll be too revealing. But anyway, oh my God. down the block, there was this horrible sewage eruption in somebody's yard. And so the turds all came up like through the grass and everywhere. And it turned out that that was the pastor for the church that the bitch who ran the faux Christian daycare. So it was like that portal to hell, which was actually the sewer or whatever, like erupted in his yard. So it was like bubbling shit in the yard. And I'm only me. You guys asked for this. I could hear you guys listening to this tomorrow and driving into work like normal people and being like, tell us your little story about Dr. Phil. Were you watching it one day? What's your story? Just tell us. Tell us. It can't be as bad as you trying to dip somebody's Gucci suit in the ocean because they were trying to drown their own child, can it? I could hear you guys saying it just like that in that voice, right? Well, anyway. Anywho, Dr. Phil's a real doctor. He's not a doctor as you think, like a doctor who's going to go and treat you, but you understand that there are doctors of psychology that you can have an MD and not treat like in an ER. You're a doctor of psychology, and so he is a doctor, and he did forensic work. So he did forensic psychology in, I think he even did it in the OJ case. He did some pretty high profile work once Oprah gave him his, what do you call it? Once Oprah touched him with her silver wand, he got so much freaking money. I mean, he was just a normal man. I mean, you could see him, he looks like the typical 80s man, with the weird cop mustache, he's got the stash. And so he was just like a regular psychologist, a doctor of psychology. He's not a psychiatrist. I think that maybe that's what some people don't understand. He's not a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist is the kind that can write medication. A psychoanalyst is the kind that analyzes, remember I talked to you guys about this before, analyzes your thoughts, your dreams, and whatnot while you're sitting on a couch, and does a prescribed treatment based on psychoanalyzation from Freud. We all remember that. You guys all remember that from our last lecture. So he's not a psychoanalyst. He is not a psychiatrist. He is a psychologist. And so he did forensic psychology. He's a forensic psychologist. He did, gosh, I can't even remember. I know there's a lot of high profile cases he did. I just can't rattle them off. I do apologize. But here's what was happening. Okay, the first few years of any show are great, right? And then they get the fame, and then they get the really, really high paying advertisers. Okay, and I think that this is what happened with HLN. When the case that we're going to discuss tonight involving CW and SW, when he covered that case, he said things he did not want to say. He saw things he did not say. There were probably a lot of things that he said that ended up on the floor in the editing room, okay? What's going on in our society is ridiculous censorship. Ridiculous censorship. The defense of free speech is becoming something that is almost, I feel like we're in was that Tiananmen Square in China? If we defend free speech, we might be burned at the stake. I call it ridiculous censorship for a reason, because people are not allowed to speak freely anymore for fear of being sued, because freedom of speech is not free right now. I would like to say that our forefathers died for freedom of speech, and I would like to say that it's my right and whatnot, but it's becoming very guarded. Very guarded. I have to word my things very carefully. I think you guys know why. So I call it ridiculous censorship. Okay? And in that vernacular, what Dr. Phil, and I'm assuming Nancy Grace and Ashley Banfield, HLN, I'm assuming that when they looked at this case, their lawyers for the show, because they do have lawyers for the show that look at everything that's going to be said, how it's going to be said, when it's going to be said, and they'll edit out anything that can be potentially problematic. Okay? They probably all were looking at this as a huge reputational risk. Okay? They were looking at the reputational risk of saying this instead of that, and they chose to stick with the narrative that a trained forensic psychologist of 3-4 decades and many years of hours studying people knew better. That Ashley Banfield, the lawyer and journalist that she is and has been on HLN, or was on HLN for years and years, I think she fought back. And I think that's how she lost her job. But we let karma take care of that, and now she has her own show. And I love me some Ashley Banfield. Okay? I think Nancy Grace is like, I gotta feed them fucking twins. Them twins, they eat all the time. They eat all the time. And did you see what they did to my nipple? My nipple was just sitting there hanging out right there at the Dancing with the Stars. That thing looks like a chewed on piece of salami for them twins. Them twins are taller than me. You know, can't you just hear it? She's like, I'm not gonna lose my job because I don't want to work that often because I want to be with my twins. Do you guys remember that when she got pregnant with them? She wasn't married, and she didn't want any kids, and she was not going to be married because her fiance was fatally shot. He was just, I think he was just at a college, sitting on a bench or something, and just a stray bullet hit him, not meant for him. He was not, or was he held up? Was he held up? Was it a robbery? I don't know. I thought something about him sitting on a bench rings a bell. He might have been mugged and robbed. I wonder why that's coming in my brain. I don't know. Maybe it's a vision. Anyway, so she was engaged to him, and she talks about him often, and she was going to be an English teacher. She loved her husband, fiance, the way she says it. And when she was looking kind of rough, a little green around the gills, I was looking up all close to the screen. I'm like, Nanners, are you knocked up? Look like you're knocked up, but I know that you're not married and you don't want to have kids or anything. And then all of a sudden it's like she's pregnant, she announced it, and then she got married, and then it came out that she had twins, and I was so happy for her because twins are so cool. Oh my god, did I just sound like NK when I said that? Oh my god. Twins are so cool, and the twins, I mean, oh my god, they're so cool, and just leave Jim alone, I mean, come on, okay, oh my god. So, a reputational risk is when corporations or universities refuse to allow certain topics, certain narratives, certain comments, certain clubs, the affiliation with a certain group, and they decide that the reputational risk of losing a potential sponsor or the aftermath of saying something for this one story is not worth the downfall. That they need their steady stream of income, and free speech costs an awful lot, and free speech can cost you everything. So at some point, you have to decide right now, what's it worth to say this because you see it and you want to be honest? Well, is somebody being a sellout if they don't see it? Is Dr. Phil selling out when he looked at the W family and didn't say what we are all saying now? Is he a sellout? I don't know, because I'm going to tell you this. He let his licensure lapse, okay? So he was a licensed... He calls himself a licensed psychologist. He says psychologist because he's from South, and he always says, "Don't look a gift horse in the mouth." And I'd like some buckwheat pancakes. Y'all, we're gonna come up. I mean, he says psychology, like he says psychology, that he's a doctor of psychology, and so he let his license to practice lapse. He did it intentionally. Now, one can say, did he do it intentionally because he knows that he is not ever going to have to sit down and counsel people, give therapy anymore because he's financially set for the rest of his life? Or did he say that he's getting tired of the reputational risk being thrown around and he wanted to let his license lapse before it was taken? Is he so afraid that he is going to say the wrong thing and they are going to go for his license and deplatform him? You decide, because I don't know. But that's where some of the headlines come out that, you know, he's not a doctor. He's not a doctor. Well, I guess right now, yeah, because he let his license do. But he's really done some great work, and I really feel bad for, you know, selling him short just because he was in those little 4-minute clips, and like I say, so much gets edited out. You wouldn't even believe it. I don't know how many of you have done television interviews, interviews for magazines, professional speaking, whatnot. Well, I'm going to tell you in my experience that they will sit with you for hours and hours. I'm not talking about my Dr. Phil thing. I'm talking about other things. So what they'll do when they're going to do a piece on you, when a journalist is going to do a piece on you, from my experience, they interview you for hours and hours, and they do some research, and then they'll come back and they do this and that. So what you've said, they take sound bites out of. So they take very succinct pieces out of what you say, so then they can use it in several different articles, if it's going to be like a series or continued series of events, etc., etc. And they just want to make sure that they really have the best language for a very short article. Sometimes, you know, when they're writing it and it goes and they've only got this many words that they can do for a column or whatnot, they want to make sure that they've got the most bang for their buck so that the reader doesn't get lost, kind of thing. And I think that that's what was happening. And I just didn't really look at it that way, because I wanted more from him. And I'm glad that, you know, they've done the show. I don't watch the show anymore. I haven't watched it in a couple of years. I think that he got too Hollywoody. And when his son married the one of the triplets of the Playboy triplets, oh God, are they the Dom twins? Did they marry one of them? I don't know, but there was some stuff with that and stuff with his son Jay, who's the producer and writes the books. Yeah, I think they married one of the Dom twins, triplets. I don't know, but he was all in with Playboy and all that good stuff. He just got too Hollywoodized, and now he's a caricature of himself at times, and I just see some of the people on his show now, and I just shake my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that cash me outside, bitch. Cash me outside, bitch. Cash me outside. Cash me outside. You gonna cash me outside? Cash me outside. Cash me outside. I didn't know what she had said. And I kept rewinding. I'm like, what did she say? She said, cash me outside. And then it's like all these teachers came out and everything. Catch me outside is what she was saying. Catch me outside, let's catch me outside. Like, what? So anyway, yeah, I was listening to Mia, and I heard her say that, and then, oh my gosh, Mia, we have to like catch up because, oh my gosh, Mia was referring to Baby Wise, and she's not heard my presentation on Baby Wise yet. I think Mia's super busy, so I don't expect her to have the time to do so, but she needs to know that I had taken one for the team, and I had went and bought 2 Baby Wise things, and did my best to make a presentation on it in the way that I do, so that you guys can listen to me when you're gardening, when you're driving to work, when you're taking a shit, whatever you're listening to me at. I want to be that voice in your ear. I want to be there for you. When you say that you're hearing voices, I want it to be mine. Okay? Oh, anyway. She said that SW should not have done Baby Wise, and that the authors who did Baby Wise are not even doctors, and it's a stupid Christian thing. And I want to say that Mia, I went so down and deep in it and saw that yes, Baby Wise is written by one pediatrician, in fact, and one man with a Master of Arts. Pediatrician Robert Bucknam, MD, and Gary Ezzo is Master of Arts. So it was written by a pediatrician and Gary Ezzo. And as you all know, that I went on the panel with Kelly, beautiful Kelly, my long lost twin, on What's the Obsession, because apparently we were on the same brainwave, and when she had 5 days off, she said that she went and bought the actual Baby Wise books herself, because she wanted to see too. So while I was doing that, she was doing that, and we had never talked before. We had never talked before. I gotta take that back. I had commented on a couple of her videos. I really like her work. She is brilliant. And she'd asked me to be on her panel a couple of times, but our schedules just never aligned. So I can't say that we didn't talk before. We interacted in that way. We never talked, and we had not exchanged personal emails or anything, so there was no way to know that we had both had the same thought, I guess, at some point, where we're like, let's look at what Baby Wise says, because is it saying to do this? And so I did it, in my way that I'm a listener. And so she said that she got some time to just quickly listen to my video, and she was like, what? Oh my God, I just did this. I just read those fucking books, and I think the same thing as you. I think the same thing as you, because both of us went into it seeing how we were going to tear this shit apart, burn this book and everything, and, mark it all up and everything. And maybe I could have ran it over and set it on fire and everything for you guys. But, it turned out that the book does not say to do anything that SW was doing. In fact, quite the opposite. And to restate the restated, the Baby Wise book is for breastfed infants under the age of 5 months, just to get them in a schedule where when they eat, they are very awake, and they play, and they get bathed, and they change, and they're dry. And then when you lay them to sleep, then they get a good sleep, so that they're getting quality sleep and quality wake. And that's it. Nothing about locking kids up. Nothing Nothing of the sort. Nothing. You do not put a child of 4 years and 8 months and a child of 3 years and 2 months on the same schedule that you put a newborn that was just delivered out of the warm womb. Because based on that, I mean, the sleep, they don't even say that newborns sleep as much as what SW was trying to make them do. And no. So it was, Baby Wise was a flex. Had nothing to do with what she was doing. She probably had been used to getting questioned about what she was doing, and she found that if she was able to refer to a book that was written by a pediatrician and say, maybe her pediatrician, oh no, her MLM hun told her to get this book because it really helped her. And so SW decided, oh yeah, I got the book, but she didn't read the book. I'm going to tell you that she did not read the book. And, you know, I'm going to continue to find things in there that are going to show you guys that is the opposite of what it was. So, when Mia was saying that, she said that, you know, it was, you know, that she had researched it and it was a Christian book and that they really aren't into Christianity. And so anyway, once Kelly saw that I had done this, she asked me to be on the panel that night so I could kind of speak to that and we could talk with each other about how we must have found the same thing. And I can't wait for Kelly to do her work on this because she will do a great presentation with this. She's a very gifted creator and I'm not. And so it will be great to see what she does with it. And from our discussion the other night, it is evident that people don't want to hear the truth. And so even though I can go and get these books and I can talk for a couple of hours about the facts and the truth, and that those books did not say to lock kids up, to make them sleep like that, to do anything of the sort. In fact, quite the opposite. During the discussion, Kelly had on another guest, and I do apologize, I don't remember her first name, but I do believe it was like My ADHD Life. And she spoke to that religious factor in it. And I did not know that, so that was news to me. So that's probably where Mia had heard of it. That, yes, it was developed, I guess, at first for the very fundamental Christian devotion kind of the people of that variety. And they did lectures and whatnot and brought it into churches and the families like that were into Baby Wise. So that maybe that's how it got its first little feel of, I don't know, success. Maybe it worked for those kind of families. I don't know. I mean, because it really does speak to a traditional family where the mom is at home. The stay-at-home mom is staying at home because she's caring for the children, not flowers in the attic-ing them. A stay-at-home mom means that you're with your kids, that you're staying at home because you're the mom. You're making the meals and you're cleaning the house and you're doing everything that you can to make the family run happy and having your kids be happy and making the family work. And that's a lost art in our society. And a stay-at-home mom, it should not have to be defined. I've never seen anybody pervert the definition as much as I've seen SW do. Say that she's a stay-at-home mom. Technically, yeah. Yes. Yes. I mean, it I guess just the whole terminology was lost on her that you stay at home because then you're taking care of the kids, making the meals and keeping the house. And I don't know. I just can't believe that it had to be further defined because she didn't understand the assignment. But anyway, as it was, they went on to the non-secular community and wrote these books. And like I say, I mean, there's a whole series of books, you know, they go up all the way to teenagerdom. But like I say, I just got the first one for the infant, Baby Wise for the infant. Can't even show you. Sorry. Baby wise, giving your infant the gift of nighttime sleep. Making sure, baby is awake to eat and whatnot. Oh my God. I can't believe it. She didn't understand the assignment and that either. But anyway, and the second book I bought in the series as well, because I thought this was just kind of saying what I needed to hear in one easy sentence about Baby Wise. Parenting your pre-toddler 5 to 15 months, which would mean that the Baby Wise concept, the first book was talking about babies up to 5 months. None of this bullshit of, oh yeah, I mean, in the same sentence, she'd be saying that her kid is going to start kindergarten, that she blabs about being trained for Baby Wise. Oh, God, just craziness. Like, no. I don't know. Maybe she didn't know how to read. Explain a lot at this point, but you know what? I'm not going to go there. Anyway, I think that I am so frustrated that I cannot go forward and talk with our like-minded community so that we can get on to really finding out bigger and more interesting things, because as soon as we all get on the same page and we stop getting pulled down into the undercurrent that is trying to pull down every single one of us like freaking, I don't even know. I just imagine these hands coming out of like this, or the river in the undercurrent. Like, me and Kelly had a great conversation going about how we, really saw this, and we're talking, and then all of a sudden, the people in the chat did not like it. They didn't like it one bit that we were sitting there bantering back and forth, and we were making an upward trajectory in solving some of the confusion about what was going on there, and they got out their pitchforks. And so it has become increasingly clear to me that it is my responsibility as a mother, as a wife, as a citizen of the United States, as a lifelong learner, as a person who's almost finished their master's degree in forensic psychology, as a human, as an advocate for children, that I need to break down some concepts so that everybody gets on the same page and we can move forward, because some things are really learning opportunities. And all of you who are in my chat are so amazing. Amazing. I'm going to call all of you guys the TWs, okay? Because you guys are my TWs. You guys are truth warriors, okay? You guys are my truth warriors, and my truth warriors are here. So you guys in my chat, and we're forming this community, and I want you to know that because you lovely people have got me over 500, that apparently I'm going to get my community tab soon. And we're going to call each other that are working together on this and working to really get the concept going here of how this is not mommy shaming. This is child advocacy. And we are working together, because when you guys take the time to listen to me, you guys bring it back to your community, your friends, other people that you see in other chats. And I hope you all start your own channel too, so that people can, hop on and see how you feel about this. And then you are, Jesus, did I just describe a pyramid scheme? Are y'all in my downline spreading information? Well, by gosh and by golly, if this is what we're going to do, we are going to take the concept of MLMing to a new level. And we're going to spread information that's going to save other children's lives. Okay? Because the danger that exists is so many people in this cult following right now say that SW was the best mom. They've heard people say that. They've heard the narrative. They've seen a beautiful woman with what looks like to be loving children in an incredible house. And they say they want to be like SW. And that they wish they could be a mother like SW. And people are not standing united in saying that what she was doing was not okay. And if you behave like SW, you're going to get a visit from Child Protective Services if you don't lose custody of your kids. Or your kids are going to grow up to hate you and never let you see your grandkids. Or you're going to raise kids that are violent, that don't have a secure attachment, that have attachment disorders, that have psychological disorders, that have physical ailments, and we're going to get to that. We're going to buckle in for the ride, folks, because here we go. I'm saying it at an hour and 5 minutes in. When I get my community tab, I'll be able to put some pictures up and some I'll be able to cite my sources and put them up a little better. And I apologize, I'm going to do that orally as I go through the facts of the situation that we're going to discuss tonight. And I want to make it clear that my TWs, like I say, you guys are amazing. I'm watching you guys in the chat, and I am so busy. So, like, I'll be able to, like, see something. I don't have time to write back, but I see something. I'm like, oh my gosh, this makes me so proud. You guys are saying the nicest things to me ever, and you guys are building me up. And I'm so happy that you guys are all with me on this journey as we work to be truth warriors. And as we say here, okay, we want to be truth warriors. Well, we talk about, okay, but we don't want to be those. Okay, so no twats, only TWs. Truth warriors, not twats. When we're talking about, okay? So, with that being said, here we go here. My video, I am not a licensed therapist. Nothing of the sort. I do not hold a license in any type or pretend to, or anything else. So my video is for educational and entertainment only. I believe that we have potential for teaching opportunities here, and I hope that you do as well. I am not mom shaming. I am advocating. I am advocating for beautiful little girls that had nothing to do with the way that the adults were behaving in that home, and for children everywhere who are not able to speak to what is really going on. In honor of Bella and Cece, I will continue to speak out. I will continue to want to spread information on how miserable their lives were in that home, despite being picture perfect, so that other people will look past what is going on and take the scales off their eyes and look carefully, and don't look at what is being said. Look at the result. Use a deduction of reasoning. Now, the details of true crime are never easy to hear, okay? I am going to be addressing potentially abusive and harmful behavior. I want to do that to prevent future abuse, okay? The moment that SW put herself out there on a public forum she became a public figure, and public figures are subject to scrutiny, okay? As that is being said, she was seen as a mentor, and she still is. There are people that see her as a mentor and a role model. And while we want to point out the potentially abusive and harmful behaviors, we will give credit when credit is due, okay? There are some times where we really see her modeling good behavior that could really lead to something great. But we must remember that is because she is creating a commercial to sell something There is very few instances where she is on with herself or the girls that the end result is not to be selling something, okay? And the question goes, are you buying what she is selling? Interesting, right? Ask yourself that. Are you buying what SW is selling? This bullshit about her wanting to go and help people and help that is the language of the MLM. They have people who sit there and refine language to the point where it is the least threatening so that people will join you in the presentation. If you go up and you tell somebody that you would like to have them come and help sell things to other people, they will say that they are not interested. Okay? If you go about it in the way that you say, don't you want to help people? Don't you want to have people have a better life? Don't you want to see people getting better and thriving? Don't you want to see that? Don't you want to be a difference in somebody else's life? Okay? Those are words. Those are buzzwords. Okay? And for a mere $150 medium, she'll help you. Do you think she was giving that away? Do you think that she was this benevolent person that wanted just everybody to feel good and that she was buying all of that to just give it away? Was that what that big hoard in the basement was? Is she was going to play Oprah and you get one and you get one and you get one and everybody gets a bunch of frickin' stickers and morsels. And then you don't need to eat shit or do anything else and you can look like a Stepford wife and you can be everything you ever wanted to be. And if your husband misbehaves, just simply put another sticker on him. Put 2 on. If he bucks that, try a 3rd. You know? Are you buying what she's selling? Because I'm not. Okay? So, with that being said, here we go. We're going to go forward now. Okay? Ooh, we are working hard to be child advocates, recognizing and explaining abuse, okay? Now, in the best way that I can do that is that I need to lean on creators with talent that I don't have, and I am recommending that, for the purposes of this discussion, if you have questions and you've never seen what I'm talking about, please look up the creator called Neeks Peeks, Neeks, I do believe that they do a great job. They do have copyrighted material, so do not take that material as your own because you will have a problem, okay? I did put a comment over there under episode 6 in the series of documentaries that she is making in those vignettes. And I said that I will be presenting a topic tonight and I will be sending people over and recommending your channel to watch this because I believe that you are showing what I am trying to convey. So I hope that that was enough to be fair to that creator. I really think it would be bad, you know, if somebody, you know, took what I was saying right here and said the exact same thing. You know, it's like we're a shallow pool here, and we need to be careful of stepping on others' feet. And you know, just always give the creator the nod. You know, like I said, I really like listening to Mia, and learned so much from Neeks Peeks. I'm so proud of little Hot Ham Radio. Here she is out there trying to get her lives all started, and she can figure out how to put really cool visuals on. Here I have a stack of books, and my teenage son came in and he was like, you know why your channel isn't big? It's because you have this dumb thumbnail of these books. I'm like, well, I don't know how to do anything different, sir. Because these teenagers, they can figure out how to do really cool things on the YouTube, right? And I showed him a little screenshot of my channel. I'm like, look it. I have this many subscribers now. And he was like, well, if he didn't have that crappy thumbnail, he might have more. You know, honestly, you believe kids these days? They're so honest, brutally honest. But Hot Ham Radio is out there, and Hot Ham, I heard you the other day. I'm talking about how you listened to the episode the other night when I was talking to Kelly about me reading the books and what I found and then what she found. And like I said, I can't wait till she puts up a good presentation, because then I'll be able to refer mine that I did verbally. I'll be able to put in the comments or link what she does as, you know, to really compliment what I said, because she's just great. But anyway, Hot Ham really got into a concept, and she said they need to, you know, you need to put things in and reverse it. I think, what song is that? You gotta break it down and reverse it. Break it down and reverse it. Well, because what Hot Ham said that she does is that when she looks at something, you know, really deep in the rabbit hole, then she reverses it and then makes herself think her way back out of it. And that's a really cool way to do. I don't think my mind does that. I think that I'm a one-way rabbit hole person, and then I fall asleep. I don't know how I ever get back out of the rabbit holes that I go down. So Hot Ham's doing great. Y'all love Bonita Barbie. I don't even need to say that. You know, she's out there living her best life in Aloha Land. I wonder how she's doing. I gotta catch up with her videos. Yes, I do. So anyway, oh, okay. So, all right, here we go. Come on now, it's Justin Lee. Oh yes, Justin Lee. He is so cute. You know what? You guys know what? Okay, like I'm old as shit. Like, I just turned 50. When I was a kid in, like, I think it was like 1976. I'm not even kidding. Like, why does 1976? There were these cookies. And they had like this, I'm going to use a visual aid. Okay, these cookies, they're like chocolate chip cookies, and they were in this little red box. And on the red box, the cookies had like this little drawing on the cookies, like that. And I think Justin has the cutest little cookie face. I do. I look at him, and I'm sure that, you know, he's the age of, because my oldest son is 33, so I'm sure that, you know, he's like the age, he could be my son. I just look at, and when he was sad last week about whatever went down between him and the other creator, and how he felt used, and he made a little cookie face, and I wanted to cry for him, and it looked like he was going to cry, and I don't want anybody to cry about all this. We are a community working together to say, what the fuck? Okay, what the fuck? There's enough room for us all, but just make sure that everybody gives credit where credit is due, and really just, you know, give that credit first, you know, before you say all this shit, you know, just make sure that, you know, like I say, I mean, I hope that Neeks Peak saw that I posted over there, and I have not posted this video yet. I hope that they see that, in, you know, those of you who head over there to watch. Like I say, it's episode 6 that really made me think about some things that need to be addressed in building on the topics that we're building in, how SW has some real shitty parenting things, and they need to be addressed, because I don't want young people to model this behavior. Now, one of the things that she did is she was using Benadryl, okay? She was giving her little girls, ages 3 years and 8 months and 3 years and 2 months, she was giving them Benadryl and Tylenol every single night. The grandparents describe this as they would line up like little mice, like little birdies, something on the animal kingdom they'd line up for. And they would just, she'd have the liquid medication in a little syringe, whatever, and they just put their little mouths up like birdies, that's what I think they said. And she would give them Tylenol and Benadryl every night. No exception. Okay? Now, This has been cited in her own words, in her own film footage, and that is on Neek's Peaks. And I think I have the, it was episode 6. Oh, I think she put the content up a couple weeks ago. And so, you know, Bella talks about it, and SW is very proud to boast that that is one of her best parenting secrets, is that she gives them Benadryl and Tylenol every night. And I'll address the reasoning why. Okay, tonight we're going to focus on how you do not give Benadryl to a child every night. We'll work on Tylenol maybe tomorrow, okay? Because I'm going to tell you that all that I found out about Benadryl is going to blow your freaking mind, okay? So anyway, here we go. Buckle in. Come on. As Justin would say. Okay, so do y'all remember that Casey Anthony was rumored to use Benadryl on little Kaylee as well? I think that the things that I'm finding out are really making that come together too. Now, SW used Benadryl as a sleeping aid, okay? I do believe that there's going to be people out there with their hands up right now going, pick me, pick me, pick me. She did it because I had allergies. She did it because of this. No. No, I'm going to prove to you. Just hold on. Hold on. I'm going to address everything. Okay? Like I say, we're going to get through the Benadryl tonight and a couple other things. We're going to do Tylenol tomorrow. Okay? I don't know if we'll get to a chapter in controlling people tonight or not. I don't want to, you know, go on a big, huge, thing and bore the shit out of you guys. So anyway, in today's Parent, that's a publication that you can find on the web on October 28th, 21. It said that Benadryl can be addictive and it can cause withdrawal. It causes the child not to be able to fall asleep naturally. Okay? Now, the problem is that with Benadryl, you can have a paradoxical reaction which can actually create hyperactivity. Okay? So, Dr. Snyderman pointed that out, as well as Dr. Mogul in the article Today's Parent. Okay, the other dangers of giving Benadryl to help the child sleep at night, or any night, is that the benefits do not outweigh the risks. With Tylenol, there's the risk of an overdose or an adverse reaction. Now, in the article that Today's Parent did on October 20th, 21, they did an anonymous study, and they said, have you ever given your child Benadryl to sleep? And sadly, several people did confess that they have given their children Benadryl to sleep. They have used it as a crutch. And these doctors say no, okay? So we're going to go in here and we're going to pose the question, can you give a kid Benadryl every day? Every day is not okay. Turning to medication to get your kid to sleep indicates a bigger problem. Drugs are never okay to substitute for parenting. If the mother is drugging the child with Benadryl, it is a parenting issue. By Dr. Snyderman. Now, the dangers of Benadryl, according to the FDA, are that you do not give Benadryl to children under 2 ever, and not recommended for children under 5 unless for very specific and very short periods of time under the advice of a pediatrician only, because the benefits do not outweigh the benefits, because, you ready? You ready? The side effects of Benadryl are severe and potentially fatal. My God, I just can't even. Like I say, my mind is blown. I just wrote 15 pages of notes on this. I cannot believe this. Benadryl side effects for children, according to the FDA, are severe, and potentially fatal. Never give your child under 2 Benadryl, and do not under the age of 5 unless it is specifically recommended by a doctor for a very short period of time. Do you understand that even when a child is over 5, the recommended amount is a teaspoon? Like 5 milliliters orally? So small. So when she's talking about lining them up, giving them Benadryl and lots of Tylenol, oh yeah, we got a problem, folks. Don't do that. Because Benadryl can cause impaired school performance, drowsiness, agitation, hallucinations, seizures, and even death. Allergists say not at all. Okay? Because you're going, but Cece had the allergies, and Bella had allergies. Allergists say not at all to use Benadryl, because Benadryl has the unnecessary risks to children's health. Dr. Doug Mack, who is a pediatric allergist, wrote on October 1st of 2019 that there had been 6 deaths that were blamed for Benadryl in 2003, directly linked to Benadryl in children. Okay? Like, but Cece had anaphylaxis. No. You do not give Benadryl for anaphylaxis. An anaphylactic event is only controlled by epinephrine, otherwise known as an EpiPen. Okay? Now, when you give a dose of epinephrine, you need to call 911. 911 will be on the phone with you, and they may recommend that you give a second dose, but by that time the ambulance is coming. I myself have chronic anaphylaxis, so I can tell you exactly how this goes down. Okay? When I need to grab the EpiPen, it is 1 dose in, and 911 is on the phone, and we are talking as we are going. Okay? Last time I almost didn't make it, and I ended up in the freaking ICU. Okay? So anyway, yeah. I have chronic anaphylaxis, and I know what I'm talking about. And anyway, so you do not give Benadryl for anaphylaxis, because if you do, let's say that you have this child who has a nut allergy. Not a peanut one. You can give peanut butter. I learned so much about all the different kinds of nut allergies, and I didn't even know I'm allergic to pecans and walnuts. But I'm an idiot, and I just eat them, and like my mouth, the lining of my mouth will slough off and stuff. But anyway, I'm an idiot with my allergies, and I don't properly care for myself when I should. But anyway, I just eat something good, and I eat it, and then, anyway, I'm an idiot. But anyway, so let's say that SW was like, well, she has this, and I'm going to give her some Benadryl. I'm giving her Benadryl because it's going to prevent anything from ever happening. And, oh my God, she looks like she's a little bit allergic, so I'm going to give her Benadryl because it looks like it. No. Because if you do that, and then you go to the emergency room because they're having a reaction, an anaphylactic event, the problem is that Benadryl causes drowsiness. And drowsiness is also a very firm indicator that the anaphylaxis is spreading and getting worse. Your airway shutting down, your body's shutting down. So if you gave the Benadryl while somebody is starting an anaphylactic event, as opposed to the EpiPen, you use epinephrine for anaphylaxis. If you give Benadryl, it can mask it. It can look worse. So then you've got the ER personnel going, okay, did we just, what's going on? And SW probably wouldn't say that she gives them Benadryl and Tylenol every night. She's just like, oh no. So they see this kid coming in really drowsy with the EpiPen and everything, and they're going, okay, we're going to bring out the big guns because obviously this is getting worse, and your child is going to get a tracheotomy. Okay? Yeah. That's what's going to happen because your throat closes when it's getting, because the last time when I ended up in the ICU, they kept that freaking tracheotomy kit right on this table next to me. Freaked me out because I didn't want a big hole there. I mean, be like, okay, well, you're there. Can you, like, can we use it as liposuction and suck out maybe 6 to 10 of my chins? But I didn't want to be like those commercials and like have my voice back. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get a tracheotomy. Oh man, I need to start not being an idiot with my allergies. But anyway, oh my God. I'm just remembering this when oh man, when I was kind of really out of it in the ICU. Brings me back to this case. The the hooks for the curtain that pulls around your bed. I had to pee, and I asked them to pull it shut. The hooks, I was like, we should pull an anal bead looking hooks to this curtain out because they're stuck. And the nurse lost it. And she's like, did you just say that your anal beads are stuck? Because she had a great sense of humor. We had a great time that night that I almost died. But I had her laughing so hard. And it was good. Because I was afraid to fall asleep. Because, you know, it was a rough day. I almost died. But anyway, remember they were talking about how they found like anal beads in like SW's nightstand, and they were like, man, they're into ass play. And then didn't NK be like, oh my God, like I was like opening and like cleaning out my butthole and everything for a garage sale, and cram a bunch of shit on my butt, and like just leave Jim alone, leave Jim up there. But anyway, starting to talk in tongues. Anyway, don't give a child Benadryl. Never under the age of 2, from the ages of 2 to 5, under very strict and precise conditions at your pediatrician's recommendation only. So, the FDA put out on July 11th, 2018, because don't you all be coming from me and saying, well, you know what, they didn't know that because the sites that you're sourcing were like after the event, okay? And so like she could not have known, she did not know, she had no freaking idea, and she was just being the best little mama she could be. No. Okay, because there's a lot of articles, but I'm just, making sure that there's some that, we can cite there. So again, the FDA on July 11th of 2018 said that decongestants and antihistamines such as Benadryl can cause severe, potentially fatal side effects to children under the age of 2 years. Now, some of the side effects include convulsions, a rapid heart rate. It is dangerous and not safe. Never, ever use Benadryl to make a child sleep, which was in the Medical News Today article that cited the FDA stating that. For those of you in the back that are writing your crap to me about, I don't know, spreading misinformation, one more time. Never give Benadryl to a child to make them asleep. Never give it to a child under the age of 2. A child from the age of 2 to 5, maybe for a very, very short and succinct period based on your pediatrician's recommendation only. Thank you. And that was in the Medical News Today. And that was, they cited the FDA's information. And that is the Federal Drug Administration, for those of you in the back. And that was on July 11th of 2018. Now, okay, for children 6 years and over, like I say, it's only like 5 milliliters. Think about that. The next time that you're baking a cake or something and you get a teaspoon out, look at how little 5 milliliters is, 1 teaspoon. Think about how little of an amount of liquid Benadryl that would be that could cause seizures, death, etc. And when you're lining your kids up like birdies and squirting it in their mouth, how much is going in? Okay. So, anyway, neither of the children were in the age range of it. I mean, there are publications out there that say not even under 5, but I'm just really trying to get this information to really see how she could have been so confused on it. I mean, basically, on any box and on the side, it's going to say for 6 and older. It's going to say for under 2, not recommended. And it's going to say for 2 to 5 milliliter. No, it's not even. For 2 to 5, I think it says consult your doctor. And then 6 and older is the half teaspoon to 1 teaspoon. It's like half a teaspoon even could do that. So anyway, they went on to say that Benadryl can cause sleepiness, restlessness, fatigue, headaches, and dizziness, sore throat, dry mouth, dry eyes, stomach discomfort, nausea, and diarrhea. Ringing a bell here, folks? Ringing a bell? That is exactly, precisely what Bella said she was feeling on Neek's Peaks video in, I think it was episode 6. I'm pretty sure it was episode 6 in her vignette series, the documentary. If you go to where SW is saying, say hi, Bella. Say this, Bella. Say that. Say what you said, Bella. Say what you just said, Bella. And, you know, she said about the oil, and you can reach back to my presentation on selling snake oil and who it's affiliated with, okay? But for right now, Neek's Peaks. Episode 6 in the documentary. Look at what Sweet Bella says as she is moving back and forth and smiling because SW is saying, say what you say this, because, you know, she makes her say everything. You know, she doesn't let her kids have an original thought. She doesn't listen to them, but she's like, say this, right? So the film was taken in 2017. I believe that Neek's Peak cited it as 2017. I'm pretty sure she did. And she posted that one 2 weeks ago, okay? Bella was saying she had a headache, and she was dizzy, and she had a tummy ache. Okay, so there's your nausea, there's your headache and dizziness. Now, for you doubters in the back, what can cause that according to the FDA? Benadryl. And again, Benadryl was never supposed to be given to Bella because she was not old enough. And back in 2017, she would have been 3 or a new 4. Okay, not recommended. Cece should have never gotten it. Anyway, so I wrote down that Neek's Peaks put it in the What's Wrong Part 6. Posted it 2 weeks ago. Okay, Bella said it at the 2-minute and 34 mark. So, Neek's Peaks, What's Wrong episode, Part 6, posted 2 weeks ago. Go to minute 2 at 34 seconds. And Bella is describing the exact side effects that the FDA lists that are potentially fatal. And there is no reason to be giving Benadryl to children under the age of 2 ever. And from the ages of 3 to 5, very, very short intervals prescribed by a doctor, and never for sleeping because of all the adverse effects that it can cause, as we have repeatedly heard the girls say, and we specifically saw Bella say. Now, we saw Bella, and she said that now, she said she was dizzy. Benadryl can make you dizzy. It can make your eyes hurt, give you a stomach ache. Bella wants her temperature taken because she was trained that she gets her temperature taken if she doesn't feel good. And we will talk about that later, and we will use some of our visual aids, okay? Rectal thermometer. Anyway. I think it's really sad because you see in that, you know, where Neeks Peaks has that, and Bella's saying that she doesn't feel good, and then, you know, you see it switch right to another one where Bella says that she wants to be a doctor, and SW says, oh, a nurse, and she's like, no, a doctor, you know, and you see Bella just emulating exactly what she has seen, and you go, this poor little angel, I have never seen her, you know, pretend or play or anything that is not based around having her temperature taken near her bottom. She starts, you know, wagging back and forth and putting her hands around the area of her bottom, and has done some on her dolls. And Cece, you know, was bending over trying to visualize exactly where that thermometer goes up, and SW is filming it, trying to hashtag it when taking your temperature becomes regular, some shit like that. Like, but that's not a hashtag. That's not going to catch on. I see my kid bending over trying to see his asshole, and I'm not going to hashtag that, okay? No. And trying to do that to the dolls and themselves. You send those kids to school, you're going to start playing with other kids' asses and asses on the dolls. No. And I'm not even Freud. Stop with the ass. God damn, don't do this to kids. Anyway, I digress. Trying to teach people. They won't listen if I say things like that. But I think that the doctors were the only outside people they were ever exposed to. They were trained. They're trained. They're sleep trained. They were food trained. They're sleep trained. They're trained to play sick is what they were trained for. They were trained to play sick. She said trained so weird. She really wanted to stress it. Like, your kids are not Dieter, you asshole. Dieter is a dog that you can train, like, to do shit. But the kids are not dogs. And even dogs. What if somebody was locking up a dog for 17 hours a day? Huh? What would you think if they put him in the crate? Who would you call? You'd have a problem with it, wouldn't you? Because their joints wouldn't move and they'd become arthritic. And the poor little thing wouldn't be able to walk, right? But it's okay to lock a kid in isolation and have a blaring rain. And you know what? Baby Wise would have hated that rain machine because, honestly, like me and Kelly noted reading the freaking book because we read it, it says that your child needs to hear the sounds outside the door from the bedroom, that they're sleeping, like their siblings coming home, like vacuuming, like weather, because they need to know that that's a normal sound. And it's still at sleep time. When it's sleep time. So I just feel like, you know, the kids were learning to play sick. And on the vision board, what she wanted to do, she wants to become a doctor. And, you know, I feel that the only positive attention and praise they got was when they acted sick. And then SW, you know, goes on to say, oh, Bella's so in tune to me and everything. You know, she's been walking around holding her neck because I'm holding my, because she knows I'm going to have surgery. What? What? That's not normal. That must mean that, you know, SW is going around holding her neck, but did she say to, you know, Bella, you know, kind of like, you know, yeah, well, mine hurts, but yours doesn't. Yours is just fine. You know, don't worry about Mama. Thank you. You know, yours is just fine. You don't need to hold your neck. And, you know, and why do you have a stomach ache? You know, well, are you hungry? You thirsty? I mean, don't even get me started about how little I saw those kids eat. But anyway, when you're being praised for being sick and that's the only time that you see your mom turn on and then turn on the camera and then use you like a puppet to talk into the thing because she sees it as an opportunity to sell. Because what is it based on? The shit she's selling is based on people not feeling good. Okay? So when she uses the opportunity of people not feeling good and then her needing to take care of her sick kids and she needs to have all this extra energy to take care of these poor little sick children that she has. Okay? She's going to use that to her advantage. And those kids are then seen as something that she can use. She pays attention to them. She brings them out of their locked room. And then she puts them away when she's done. But we haven't gotten to that chapter in controlling people yet, so you don't understand what I'm saying. Stick with me, kids. You'll learn a lot. Tell your friends about my channel. Tell them to subscribe because I want to get my community tab. And the more people that you tell about my channel, the more awareness we're going to bring. And then we're all going to be a collective good people that are working for a better world for our children, which is our duty as adults as we get older. Okay? We need to make sure that we're really making sure that when the people are fighting us tooth and nail saying that is an abuse, understand how and why it is abuse and how I can cite in how many different ways that it is abusive. And somebody can say, well, I've been this and this for this many years and I don't see it. Well, you know what? This is this and this is how I can prove it. And that's the way that higher thinking people come together and they understand. And then they can see, because I think that what is going on here is that people are not understanding by deductive reasoning what they're seeing. So when you see Bella complaining about those very specific symptoms that are listed for the reasoning as why not to give Benadryl to a child, you see them, but then you see that very bizarre praise and attention being given because people in the waiting room are all potential customers to SW. She can see these newborns out there and she can see the moms looking tired and everything. And is she going to go recommend baby wipes to them? No. She's going to recommend her stickers. Okay, she goes into a waiting room. She goes anywhere. She goes to the cafeteria, sees people out there looking tired and whatnot. And then she looks so beautiful and refreshed with all of her makeup on and everything. And she can say it's all because of that. She didn't tell them apart that she locks up her kids so she could have room to do that because of little fuckers. When she had them in the bathroom, you know, what was she calling them? Little thieves trying to take her makeup and everything. And you know, Cece wants her bottle refilled. She's not going to stop applying the putty for that. She needed time alone to do her makeup. So she's not going to tell those other people the other things about it. But she is going to tell them because, you know what, if she's only sold to enough people, she actually could afford the lifestyle that she was trying to say she earned. That had not been earned. That had been written by a bunch of bad checks. And she had claimed bankruptcy in 2016. And it was only 2018 and they were going to lose the house. House payments weren't being paid. HOA wasn't being paid. And they were in debt up to their frickin' eyeballs. How was she going to answer for that? How was she going to tell all of these people on her Facebook and all of the people in her downline that it was all a lie? That she had been taking the money that her husband went and earned every day and invested it in product that's all lined up in the basement? For doomsday? Was that doomsday prepping with MLM product? The fuck? Okay? Anyway. Back to the subject. But the girls had allergies. They need Benadryl. Benadryl is for allergies. Okay, well, let me see here. Let me see what I can tell you. No. We already went on that page. You can't do that. Don't do it. Pediatric allergist said no. So, get that out of your head. Get out of your head. And in case it's still stuck in your head, my final notations on the Benadryl are as follows. No doctor would ever recommend Benadryl and Tylenol nightly to anyone. Not an adult, not a child. Never under 2. It was causing the exact symptoms that Bella had. And then remember when we talked about the paradoxical reaction? Where Benadryl could cause hyperactivity and agitation? That's Cece for you. Remember how many times she said that Cece was hyper, and oh God, how could she deal with this? And she'd film and she'd roll her eyes about, you know, Cece doing this and Cece doing that and all that. Yeah. Yeah. It's because she was having a paradoxical reaction because she was way too young to be getting Benadryl. Should never have been getting Benadryl. But what about the allergies? What about the allergies? Well, Benadryl is a first-generation antihistamine. What it does is it blocks histamine. Kind of silly to say that, right? When you say antihistamine, blocks histamine. It is also an anticholerogenic. It blocks the effect of acetylcholine. acetylcholine. So, Benadryl is a first-generation antihistamine. It blocks histamine, and it is an anticholerogenic, and it blocks the effect of acetylcholine. Well, what's that? Why does that matter? I just want the little fuckers to sleep. Well, actually, acetylcholine is a chemical in your brain that helps send messages between cells. So it causes the drowsiness and the confusion and memory loss that you know you feel. I can't remember what it said about, I think it said something about how it blocks the communication between like the smooth grooves in the brain and whatnot, and Tylenol does too. I sent that article to a creator and they cited it. So I know that that's been said. I'll explain that a little bit better when I go back into that. But anyway, the acetylcholine is a chemical in your brain that helps send messages between the cells, which causes the drowsiness, confusion, and memory loss that you feel like you have when you do the Benadryl, you know, you think. And so what does that do, folks? According to GoodRx.com on 1/22/20, Benadryl raises your risk of dementia. I don't know, I feel like I have Alzheimer's or dementia when I take Benadryl. I can tell you that. Those poor little girls are going around dizzy as fuck, not knowing what's going on, you know, and their risk of developing a fatal side effect, and they're not even checked on for the long stretch of the 12 hours. It's, like I say, it's just like an adrenaline rush for every day when she goes in to see if they're dead or alive. Honestly, who does that to their kids? Tabitha Jane, if you talk that way, people won't listen to you. You need to give educational and professional responses. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So, the long-term use of antihistamines causes a brain fog, forgetfulness, sedation, impaired motor function, dizziness, dry mouth and throat, blurred vision, urinary retention, and constipation. Also affects glaucoma, but for the purposes of this discussion, I'm keeping it towards what we were witnessing in the girls. Remember how they were always thirsty? Yeah, it's from the Benadryl, dry mouth. Remember how Bella said she was dizzy? Yeah, she was. Remember how the whole family couldn't drop a log? They're constipated? Yep. Because it's all drying you up. And then rarely, but it's a risk worth mentioning, Benadryl can cause liver injury. Now, according to www.healthline.com, on 8/23/21, long-term Benadryl is linked to dementia, memory problems, and anxiety. Now, it also creates a dependence, and the withdrawal symptoms can include psychosis. So let's think about that, folks. What do you think about that? You want to know why that's a problem? Because when sweet grandma comes over and they line up like little birdies, take the medication, and she says, bad mommy isn't home. You don't have to take that shit tonight or any night that I'm here. Guess what? Those girls were going into withdrawal. And what kinds of things can withdrawal from Benadryl cause? Psychosis. It's dangerous. Very dangerous. FDA said on July 11th, 2018, never give Benadryl to children under 2 years. Can dehydrate your whole body, which alters the heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, and elimination. Pooping. Okay? So, what do you think? Do you think that she was making them sick? I'm not saying she had any idea that Benadryl was going to cause those symptoms. So now we have a case where those girls had those symptoms, but they were a side effect from the medication she was giving them every night that she was not supposed to be giving them. And for you folks in the back who are like, her doctor told her to do it. Bullshit. No doctor would ever say to give your baby Benadryl and Tylenol every single night. They would not tell you to do it for sleep. They would not tell you to do that in a child of this age. I don't want to hear about your 5th grader having an issue and they told you to take Benadryl every so often because it's histamine can cause insomnia. I don't want to hear that. We are talking about 2 little girls that had these symptoms and they were displayed openly. These girls felt like shit. How do you feel after taking Benadryl? How would you take Benadryl every single night that if you knew that it made you feel like that? Okay? She liked to keep him drowsy. She did. And blaming the behavior that she was causing as a behavioral thing with Cece. And all of them referring to her as a monster, a fireball, out of control. No. 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 Like I say, she couldn't have known. I'm not saying that she sat there and was like, oh, it'll cause all these symptoms so then I can take them to the doctor all the time. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that she gave them Benadryl so that they would go to sleep. And this is what it caused. And then she would take them to the doctor for said symptoms. Because going to the doctor was attention. She likes attention. She likes posting about how those girls are sick again. And poor Saint SW is just this dedicated and devoted mommy. And because she sells this snake oil, she can be there for them. Because before, CW would have to take days off to take care of them. Not sure why she couldn't take off days before, but anyway. It's all bullshit, folks. She used Benadryl as a babysitter. She didn't have any money. She was using his money and not telling him. Imagine how that would be. Imagine if you were a wife and your husband went to work and worked hard every single day. And he trusted that you were taking care of the family, the home, and being responsible for the money that he makes. I have always told my husband, my second marriage, I didn't have to work, okay? I didn't have to work because I had 3 babies in 2 days less than 1 year, and we couldn't afford me to work. So we made lifestyle adjustments, okay? That often included me not eating because I didn't have any money, but anyway. Anyway, I made a deal with my husband in the very beginning, and I said, you make the money, and I'll make that money go far. And I did. I knew we didn't have money for food a lot of the times, so I'd wait for the farmer's market stand, the staff to leave, and I'd go get all the fruits and vegetables I could that they had thrown away for being overripe, And I'd get them home and I'd wash them and peel them and put them in the food processor, and I'd make my kids smoothies. And I'd freeze them in their little sippy cups, and then I'd just take them with us wherever we were going. You know, going to the doctors, going to speech therapy, going to occupational therapy, going to the park. And they loved it. They loved their little smoothies. I could sneak spinach in there and everything. Strawberries, they loved it. And then I'm giving them all the fruits and vegetables and everything else. So then we're saving our food dollars to go to what we really need, which, you know, you can't find meat in a dumpster diving. But anyway, you know, we needed a triplet stroller because having 3 babies in 2 days less than 1 year. And I told you the one that was 1 was a preemie, and so he didn't see any reason to walk because the twins weren't walking. I was carrying them, so why couldn't I carry him too? And so, you know, I'd have the 2 little infant carriers, and I'd have one in each hand and kind of hold him in the middle, kind of with my chin. And, you know, assholes wouldn't even open the door for me. I'd be like, okay, here, why don't I open the door for my... Anyway, I needed, you know, triplet strollers, and I couldn't afford, we didn't have that kind of money. So I was blessed by finding the one in the garbage. You know, I was like driving by, and this, you know, triplet stroller, it was a Peg Perego, like I said, had been thrown away, and it was rusted and filthy and everything. You know, I think the woman had a daycare. And I took that fucker down to the screws. I took all of it down, you know, and I soaked all the screws in Coca-Cola to get the rust off. And I scrubbed and scrubbed with baking soda and everything. And I made that Peg Perego shine. You know, it was the best looking Peg Perego stroller you ever saw. And then, when I was done with it, I sold it and made good money. And I did that for most all of my things I needed. You know, I needed 2 bassinets and I was using 3 cribs at the one time until I put him in a bed. And I had 3 high chairs. You know, car seats, everything. I'd go to garage sales. I'd go everywhere. And oftentimes people will go to donate their baby stuff at Goodwill, and they can't resell it because they can't assume the liability if something happens. And so a lot of times people, you know, just donate and they don't know that it's going to go to the dumpster. Well, I would always go to the dumpster at Goodwill. And I'd find great baby things, great baby furniture. Like I said, scrub it up, use it. Did that for their clothes. And then I'd have big ass garage sale, and people would be like, oh my God, do you have a daycare? No, I'll just have a lot of children. My next oldest was not quite 4, so I had 4 under 4. But anyway. So, I can't imagine being a wife and fucking my husband over like that. Using all my money to go and buy my MLM shit. I've let it slip that I was a Tupperware lady because I love Tupperware. And I wish I was a successful Tupperware lady, but you just can't really sell it in today's world. And they switched over to, you know, being electronic, and shipping is so expensive. So it's not like you can buy it and then resell it because, you know, you don't recoup the taxes and the shipping. And basically you're just reselling it for what you bought it for. I mean, honestly. So, imagine if I went and put his entire salary of Tupperware in my basement. And then let him know that I hadn't been making the house payment or the HOA dues. How do you bring that up? What does that feel like? How was she going to tell everybody that everything she said was a fucking lie? How was she going to live to face that lie? That she had this lifestyle, that she could stay home, that she did everything. And you know what? She was able to stay home because he let her, and that wasn't even good enough for her. She had to go and fuck it up so bad. Okay? There's a lot of people who would have really appreciated that man being a provider and making that decent salary. And maybe they couldn't have afforded that big-ass house on Saratoga. Maybe they needed one a little bit smaller. But it'd still be a house, and there'd be love. And you see some little houses, and you see some little trailers that have flowers and little pools out there, and you see kids playing in the mud and having the best of times. Do you see that in those big, huge houses in the neighborhoods you go by? No, you don't. How could you even look at him? Well, I've got you brainiacs in the back going, she was afraid they had a fever. So that's why she was doing the Benadryl and Tylenol. I'm going to talk about the Tylenol on a different day. Okay? But what I want to talk about is the inappropriateness of taking their temperature every night. Rectally. Because it goes full circle to my dumpster diving. I was dumpster diving last week at a church after they had their chicken dinner and rummage sale. And there was this pile out there in this little bag with this old grandma writing. And I don't know where I put that, but anyway, I found this bag and it had a couple thermometers. So I thought, how great to use for my presentation here. Okay. So, taking the temperature rectally. Not advised, folks. Just like the Benadryl. Taking the temperature rectally is an invasive method. It is used only when other methods are not available. Not even CNA, so not even a certified nursing assistant, can take a rectal temperature on a patient legally. It is defined as an invasive method. It is to be done by a registered nurse only. And no, folks, SW was not a registered nurse, nor was she a CNA. Okay? So when you take a temperature rectally, I'm going to assume that she did this one, but let's say there's the other. We'll go through both. So this is a glass thermometer. Maybe I have some people who have never seen one, so they're very thin, and they have mercury in them. So the thought is, you put it in the asshole, and the mercury rises. And you see where the mercury goes. And it's kind of hard to see, right? But that's generally what's used, because to get the most accurate temperature in the body core, that is obtained rectally. Okay? So that's a glass thermometer. That's what one looks like. They used to be pretty much the norm when I was growing up, but we had evolved as a society to putting them under our tongues, not in our asses. And so anyway, the other way to take a rectal temperature is with a digital thermometer, and it looks like this. And this one's battery is not working. I found it dumpster diving, so what do you expect? These are thermometer liners, and it is recommended that you put a liner over, especially if you just did a rectal temperature and then you go to a sibling and do an oral. Don't do that, please. Anyway, so that is, these are both methods that were used to take temperatures in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And then, oh, there's the probe covers. That's what these are. Probe covers for the thermometer. Oh, is here. Oh, yep, the whole thing. So these are little plastic liners, so you can put those over. Okay? So, there are 3 ways to take a temperature, just for you guys to know. So, there is rectal, and as Bella would say, she wanted her thermometer, take her temperature taken. So, as it was done rectally, we know it would be done either with this glass thermometer here, or this digital one. And it is recommended to put it about 1/4 of an inch up the rectum. And as we all know, the kids were getting into the lube for the thermometers. So it is recommended that you lube up. And you lube up your glass one. The glass one doesn't have sheaths. It doesn't show. Only the electronic ones have sheaths. I don't think that a sheath on a glass one would be able to get sterilized. So I'm hoping to God that they were using a digital one rectally, and they lubed it up with Aquaphor, they said. Okay, so those are our visual aids for right now, our discussion at hand. If this is triggering to anybody, please know that I'm not offended if you need to leave. And the reasons why you don't do a rectal temperature, even though it could be the most accurate, argumentatively, is that it can cause a perforated rectum, which means that you've caused a hole in the lining of the rectum. Now, when they say that Cece getting her diaper changed would wiggle, you can imagine that she might wiggle while she's getting her temperature taken rectally. Okay? So it is not advised to do a rectal temperature. It is, if you have an infant and it is the only possible way, and you have this infant who is burning up with a fever, and you think that the only thing you can do is take the baby's temperature rectally because you can't figure out how to do the other two methods, then, and you have no other resort, then please very, very carefully lube up the glass or digital thermometer and insert very, very carefully by 1/4 of an inch with the baby on their side in a fetal position. Now, have their knees bent up a little bit. That helps. It is not recommended to ever do. Now, it was one of SW's parenting quirks, and she made her husband, CW, take the girl's temperature rectally every single night before bed. She had him lube up the thermometer, which is talked about, and when Bella and Cece would go in the bathroom and get into the lube and whatnot, it was a problem. It was very much discussed and posted on social media, which is subject to scrutiny as she is a public figure by doing so, and they were talking about this topic. So, as people want to be like her, I want to explain what was being done because some people might not understand what exactly they were talking about and why it's wrong. So, when Sweet Bella was talking about her tummy hurting and being dizzy and wanting her temperature taken, you could obviously see this child was not sick in any way. And she was waving back and forth towards her bottom. And she said she wanted her temperature taken. Now, one of the risks in stimulating the rectum is that it can be pleasurable. I do believe that was what was going on, and it's really, really disgusting, and it really bothers me because she was standing behind him, filming him, changing Cece's diaper, and taking his the temperature. Why? And how many times was she standing behind? If you were ever in a situation and your baby needs a rectal temperature taken, wouldn't you do that as the mother? It is inappropriate to have a father doing those kinds of things and filming it when the mother is available. I'm sorry. Sexist? Maybe. But it's crossing boundaries and not teaching safe language and actions around your private parts. And Cece, at that age, was old enough to not be subjected to that, and neither should Bella ever have. Now, they say to never take a temperature rectally on a child that wiggles. As we said, Cece wiggles. The risks of taking a rectal temperature are that it can be dirty. It passes germs. When you insert something into the rectum, it takes that biome and all of the germs to the outer area, and then those germs can then go and cause a UTI, a urinary tract infection. An untreated urinary tract infection can cause a kidney infection. This is why we don't mess around with rectal temperatures. It's a very serious and very precisely needed thing in certain circumstances, and by no circumstance at all was it required or recommended by anybody. Not any doctor would tell her to do that to those little girls every night, not ever. Okay? The germs that can go to the urethra causing the UTI are an associated risk with rectal thermometers, as are rectal injury and cross infections. And that was posted by pubmed.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. So the National Institute of Health says do not do this. Now, the problem with an adult and a child is that the rectal sphincter can stimulate the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve can cause a heart rhythm disturbance called bradycardia. So you can stimulate a nerve up your ass that's going to give your heart bradycardia. So what do you think it's going to do to a child? Now, that is also stimulating and can be pleasurable, as I've stated. And in so stimulating the sphincter, it can cause a bowel movement. Now, it is something that can be done when you have an infant who is very constipated. You can use a gloved finger. You can look this up online. Gloved finger and some lube, and you can stimulate a bowel movement with a Q-tip or the tip of your finger. So, the dangers of stimulating the sphincter every single night with a thermometer is that it would promote a bowel movement, and the sphincter would no longer be able to operate in the way that it is supposed to from the outside out. The butthole goes like that, not up, okay? So what can happen is it causes a dependency. So a child may not be able to produce a bowel movement anymore on their own. They would need to have their sphincter stimulated by the thermometer in order to promote a bowel movement. Okay? Now, in the absence of that stimulation, that can cause constipation. We know that Bella was complaining of tummy aches and constipation. That's a direct cause. I don't want to talk about that. I think it's disgusting. It was probably being built up for her to falsely accuse him of sexual abuse, the way that she was filming and the things that she was doing and the things that the girls would do to dolls, if given the chance, would have made a very ripe situation for SW to put a false accusation of SA against him. And it is my theory at this time that that was one of her plans of attack when they would get in a fight and she would threaten that he was never going to see the girls. I am quite sure that she said, "This is why." And I have film of you touching SA. Okay? There is no other logical explanation for it. Do not stimulate your daughter's sphincter every night. Anyway. So, these are tympanic thermometers. Yay! These were out in, gosh, early 2000s. So it's just this. You go to the forehead, and it gives you that amazing. You know, we had these during COVID. And take our temperatures. You guys might have seen this during COVID. What it was like, 98.2. Okay, very easy. So if she did believe in her heart that she needed to take their temperatures every day, it would have been very easy to have purchased a tympanic thermometer, or you just, actually, this one might not even be a tympanic. Tympanic is the ear one where you kind of go over and around, or maybe go, I don't know. But yeah, these are very affordable now. They used to be more expensive, but with everything else she was buying, she certainly felt could have gotten one of these, would have made things a lot easier. Now, the other ways of taking the temperature of a child or an adult are orally. So you would use a electronic or mercury thermometer and place it under the tongue for, I believe, 5 minutes. That's the problem, is that no one wants to keep something under the tongue for 5 minutes, right? So here's the beauty, guys, is that you can put this underneath your armpit. So, the child's armpit. So I would always do that when my kids were sleeping. I couldn't afford an expensive, fancy one. So I had a digital, and, when they were sick and whatnot, and I would just sneak over and put this in their armpit, and do something, this is not going to work. But, I would just do that, and then it lets a little beep when it's done. Now, when you take the temperature under the armpit, the reading is going to be 1 degree under than the true temp of the core. So you're going to add 1. So if it said 101, then you know that your child is 102. Act accordingly. And you would do that with the mercury as well. So those are the ways of taking a temperature, and the ways that she was doing it were wrong. Never needed to be done. And I would recommend something like this for every parent. Now, they're really easy, really affordable. Find them on Amazon. Don't be shoving things up your kids' butts. It's just not a great idea. So then, I hear you in the back. But she was doing it because she thought that they had familial Mediterranean. I don't know. FMI. Familial Mediterranean fever. Oh, yes. I couldn't read my writing. Oh, Lord. Must have taken so much Benadryl day. And for those of you who think I'm drinking and doing meth, it's just Gatorade. So anyway, here I go. Ready, folks? Familial Mediterranean fever. What's that? And why did she take their temperatures every night to make sure that her kids didn't have it? Huh? Why'd she do it? I want to be just like her, and what if my kids have it? Well, let's see here. Let's look at the notes. Let's look at the notes and see. So, basically, what I found was familial Mediterranean fever is the most common hereditary autoinflammatory disease. I didn't know that. A lot of times somebody with FMF would need diet restrictions like low salt, low fat, especially for children. A diet high in salt and fat would not be a good thing for somebody who thought that they might have FMF. Okay. So, what is it? What is FMF? What is it? Right? Well, basically, it's a genetic mutation. The Italian Journal of Pediatrics has article number 7, which was posted in 2020. And it said that familial Mediterranean fever can be suspected in a fever lasting 2 days that causes arthritis or aphthous changes in lips. I need to look that word up. A-P-H-T-H-O-U-S. Aphthous changes in lips or the oral mucosa or erythema or serocystitis. It can cause chest or abdominal pain, or, according to Biomed Central on January 15th of 2020, you could suspect familial Mediterranean fever in the absence of a fever for 6 days, with a person presenting with enlarged cervical lymph nodes. Cervical meaning the cervical spine, so around your neck. If you have enlarged lymph nodes with no fever for 6 days, and you have urticaria, a rash, and you have stomatitis, so you have an inflammation of the stomach, you have no fever and whatnot, familial Mediterranean fever could be a consideration. Familial Mediterranean fever has very specific and available tests, okay? They would be able to test it by a physical exam, according to the Mayo Clinic, on November 11th of 2021. Mayo Clinic says that if a suspected FMF case presents itself, there will be a physical exam conducted. The family medical history would be considered. There are lab tests and there are genetic testing available. There is a scale that is used, and it's called the Tell-Hashemer Clinical Criteria, and it measures the severity of FMF. And you may take your child to a pediatric rheumatologist who would look into that. And they would say that they need to look specifically at the MEFV gene analysis, because FMF can cause renal amyloidosis, and it is very important to prevent that at all costs, because that can lead to renal dysfunction. And once the kidneys are affected, the progression to dialysis, when it has the protein in it, is 50%. That is not anything. And from the time that you have symptoms to when you are diagnosed, the average time is 17 years. And the most predominant clinical manifestation is that renal dysfunction. So, you know, you're an adult, you have these things that are unexplainable and whatnot. You know, I mean, a very rare, they could suspect it. If you have a child who's very, very sick, has complaints of body aches and whatnot for 2 days, you might consider familial Mediterranean fever. You just certainly would want to have it evaluated. I know that she said that in one of her Facebook posts that her doctor said it's looking like FMF for the girls. Well, with her pretend lupus, she had a pretend series of rheumatologists, many rheumatologists that she said that she had to go and see. You would never need to see more than one because you'd have your freaking diagnosis and a care plan. But anyway, she would know the way to navigate to a pediatric rheumatologist, and if a doctor indeed did suspect familial Mediterranean fever, they would write that diagnosis to a pediatric rheumatologist rather quick. And the chances of having both kids have it, very rare, but you know what? We'll just play this game out. We'll take them to a pediatric rheumatologist. They'll do some genetic testing, and it's fine. You don't cram a thermometer up their ass every day of their lives for years, because you're tracking for familial Mediterranean fever. Just like the Baby Wise books that she didn't read, she didn't know what FMF was. She heard it and thought familial Mediterranean fever. She must think that you have to watch for fevers. But no, there's nothing saying to do so. To do so is insane. Okay, so anyway, if you do go through and you find out that you have it, FMF can be managed very well. In the magazine article UpToDate.com on November 23rd, 2021, it said that FMF can be managed and treated with colchicine. I can't say this word. C-O-L-C-H-I-C-I-N-E. Colchicine. And that's a prophylactic treatment for FMF attacks. for all patients. And the coal-kinine, whatever it is, can develop a toxicity, so it needs to be managed. They do blood tests every 6 months, it looks like. And somebody could have an adverse reaction to that as well, which would be really, really shitty, because then, you know, what do you do? So, emedicine.medscape.com said on December 14th, 2021, that during attacks of FMF in the acute phase, they can do a very specific set of blood work. Your C-reactive protein would be raised. Your erythrocyte sedimentation rate would be high. Your amyloid A protein would be high. Your fibrinogen would be high. And your white blood cell count would be high. Those would all be elevated. So to a doctor, that's a very specific clinical picture where SW with their pretend lupus would know that with, you know, this autoimmune stuff, they really watch that sedimentation rate, and your C-reactive protein. As far as we know, she didn't have anybody with it. I mean, where she found that, we don't know. I think that if she actually really did work as a receptionist at the Children's Hospital, she might have gotten some ideas, but as she twisted and perverted the concept of baby-wise, having babies awake and then sleep because they're newborns being breastfed, she perverted the definition of familial Mediterranean fevers, because there is nothing ever saying that you track fevers, especially rectally. That is bizarre, and no doctor would ever say to do so at all. They have these blood tests. We are an evolved society that if there was something suspected, they would have the referral. They would go have it analyzed, and if it was that, there is treatment. To make sure there's not the toxicity, they are assessed every 6 months. The frequency and characteristics of the attacks need to be noted, and well, it says that people who have FMF are assessed every 6 months. It may be more frequent in the first year when you're trying to really get it under control. The triggers that could induce an attack are physical and emotional stress. We know that that family was under stress. Those children were under stress. Menstruation. So we're talking about, menstruating age. It'd be very, very rare for these two little girls to have this. Or physical trauma. Exposure to cold, infections, inflammation, high fat intake, or starvation, or sleeplessness and tiredness. So sleeplessness, tiredness, being hungry, eating a high fat, high salt would all be, being stressed would all be triggers that would bring on an FMF episode if you had FMF. Okay, so with everything, we just kind of have to work backwards with it, you know, and just kind of see if there's anything in anywhere where you can find some reasoning as to why she would do it. But I mean, there's just nothing. There's nothing. I mean, and we can play this whole Easter egg hunt out, and we can open every Easter egg and say, well, she must have been thinking that, and she must have been thinking that, because people are defending her and defending her. And what if his first confession was true? What if there becomes a trial, and it comes out, and it can be proven that his first confession, that he walked in and she did it, or if the most popular alt theory that she unalived the girls and then herself? What are these people going to say? How are they going to justify all that they have white knighted for her and nominated her for sainthood and dismissed every single notion of abuse proven by the cause and effect cycle, what are they going to say? But they're going to say, but no, he confessed. He said he'd take responsibility because he was a provider and he took care of things. Okay? I don't know what happened. I don't know. But if he did snap, I want to find out what was going on to make him snap. I want to go through this huge, huge haystack and find the needle in the haystack that made him snap. I want to see if every single one of those pieces of hay was needles. And if they got discharged into him and he snapped like a rabid dog and did this horrible thing himself. I want to know. And I think we all need to know. We deserve to know. We deserve more than being fed the horse shit of mainstream media telling us that, oh yeah, well, you know, they had this perfect family. They wanted this third baby so bad. And because of these silly stickers, she was able to conceive him. Because of her wonderful marriage, and they wanted this third child. And she went out to go and be with her family so that they could enjoy the children, both sets of grandparents. And she would just be back and everything was wonderful. And then, while she was away, he went and got some hot piece of ass and just really, really, really got his freak on and fucked a lot. And then when she came back and everything was supposed to be fine and he should be feeling the baby kick and everything because the baby should be kicking by now and all of those things, instead he threw them away like trash, like they say, because he decided that he'd rather do that to these innocent little children that called him daddy. Bullshit. Bullshit. They were separated. That is noted so many different times. WRIL cited it when they interviewed the salon that the mom worked, that SW was out there because she was separating from her husband. CW's best friend talked about it when he talked about their separation, that they were going for a divorce. Both sets of parents knew about it, and it was repeatedly mentioned in NK's interview. The separation and all of the details supporting the separation and ultimate divorce and sale of the house. What made him snap? This crazy, crazy micromanagement and paranoia about things that didn't exist to justify sticking something up your baby's butts every single night. You stand behind and film it. Because the doctor thinks they might have FMF. Familial Mediterranean fever. Yeah. So, if she was so concerned about it, why was she not making sure that they had a low-salt, low-fat diet? You know? I don't know. Problem with Benadryl is that it's proven to cause organ damage. Benadryl is completely metabolized by the liver in 24 to 48 hours. Benadryl given every single night to children who are not supposed to be getting Benadryl under any circumstance would cause liver injury. Okay? That is cited by ncbi.nlm.gov on 1/26/17. So, if you work things backwards, like Hot Ham Radio says you should do, then SW was indeed causing the symptoms of FMF. Think about that. And if the Benadryl was causing organ damage, that's the last thing they would need if indeed they were suspected to have FMF. Like I say, if the doctor suspects FMF, he would have made a referral. They would have had the blood tests and it would have been ruled out or ruled in, right? Oh, of course, because it's her. She would say that, you know, they had it, right? Right. Now, on www.wafb.com on 7/3/2006, it cites that Benadryl should not be given to induce sleep with children because Benadryl is, in fact, more likely to keep kids awake. Okay? So, people that just don't see this abuse of giving Benadryl and lots of Tylenol and Benadryl and Tylenol every single night. I don't know. I think that I've proven my case. But if we go through tomorrow and I show you all of the dangers of Tylenol, we'll go deep, just like we just did with Benadryl for 2 hours and some. The very basic, it's so, I just, you know, I feel stupid having to look this all up because everybody knows you don't do this shit. Everybody knows you don't do this. And I feel stupid having to Google this and Google that and research this and research that. But this is what it's going to take. And if this is what it is going to take to get the word out for all of the reasons why you do not do this, and somebody who looked like a great mentor, we need to make sure that the message is clear and out. That her parenting issues were indeed abusive, not necessary, not recommended. There was no doctor that said to do so. Please, if you see somebody using Benadryl to make their baby sleep, please, please refer them to my video. Please, please have them listen. There is so much danger about it. On the very basic surface, Tylenol also causes kidney and liver issues. It is made to be only short term. The clevelandclinic.org said that Tylenol toxicity and death can happen in anybody, let alone a child. We're not even going to go there because it should never be given more than 7 days in a row, and that is only with direct doctor supervision. Not every night, just like the Tylenol. And I'm so sick of people saying, well, she wouldn't have done it every night. Like, she only did it when it's sick. And the doctor said, well, that one video where she said, yeah, she gives them Benadryl and lots of Tylenol because, oh, yeah, the doctor gave them steroids. And so I'm going to go give them their medicine, their medication, their steroids, the prednisone and Tylenol and lots of Tylenol. You don't need to give Benadryl, number one, because it's not recommended for their age. But you don't need to give Tylenol if you have prednisone, because the prednisone right there is the biggest anti-inflammatory. And the symptoms that they were having, if they had a cold or whatnot, the Benadryl is not going to help them. That's a histamine blocker. It's going to make them sleep. And prednisone makes you not sleep. And God forbid, she didn't want that now, did she? She was a lazy parent, and she was doing lazy parenting things. She was doing that as a way to have time for herself. And she was very selfish, and her selfishness and her lies and deceit led to much dysfunction and much stress in that home. And it either made him snap, or she continued that abuse to the ultimate hilt. Either way, those little girls aren't here. And I'm here to advocate for them. And I know that you all are too. You guys want to save lives. You guys want the best of the information to be out there. You want to be responsible for stopping somebody from doing something stupid and making sure that another child is never mistreated in this way again ever. We owe it to Bella and Cece and their legacy. Okay? And on that note, I want to say thank you once again for the amazing comments I'm getting. I take my kiddo with mild cerebral palsy. I don't want people to think that, you know, he's as severe as some, but he's not able to drive yet. He's 18. He has cerebral palsy. He had a full left-sided stroke, so his left side is not as strong as his right. So we haven't really figured out how we're going to be able to get that pressure and adapt for him to be able to drive. So he likes to go everywhere. And so I'm really, really busy this summer taking him all over. I go to the lakes. I go out in nature with him. We go to 10 lakes a day. Maybe sometimes we go down to the river or a wildlife refuge or whatever. We just go out. He loves nature. He loves being in nature. So, I can, quickly hop on and see a comment and be like, I want to get back. And then he'll need something. And oh, all right, well, here we are. Here we are hiking, or here I am making sure this tick is off of me and whatnot. But like I say, I'm going to get time to get back to all of you guys in the comments, but please know that they pop up in the middle of me doing something, and I'll have felt like nobody's hearing me and nobody wants to hear this, and that I won't make a difference. And then I see the incredible things you guys say, and I'm like, you guys are helping me find my voice. My voice has been stifled for a long time. I believe strongly that what happened to those little girls could have and should have been prevented. I believe that every single thing that I'm talking about, when the grandparents hear it, and they probably will hear me, they know that I'm talking the truth. And I strive to speak the truth. Are they ready to admit that what I'm saying is true? No. Because the level of denial was very, 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 very omnipresent in that family. But I bet you that they wish that they could have stepped in, stopped, prevented, done something. But it can't be undone. But what if we start to get people in our community coming back and saying that they learned that somebody in their church or a coworker was doing these same things, and they were able to say, hey, you know what, you shouldn't do that because this and that. Or, hey, there's actually new information about this and that. Or what if you're able to give them a break and watch their kids for a few hours? What if you do that in honor of those two little beautiful girls, huh? Give somebody who really needs a break a break. Better than anything money can buy. Now, when I was pregnant with the twins, and I'm carrying around my newborn, all these people were coming up and saying, get a nanny, get a nanny. I'm like, I can't afford a nanny. I guess I would be the nanny. Like, people were like, oh yeah, you can get an au pair, AUPAIR, au pair. And I guess, a lot of people do this where they, reach out and they get somebody, from a foreign country, whatever, that wants to come over to the United States and get a job. And if you let them live with you and be that live-in nanny, in exchange, for them establishing that time for citizenship, that would have been a great thing for SW. So many people told me to do that, but I just didn't have a house that was conducive to having, another adult have their living quarters. But her house was big enough, and she had people living in there all the time. And I'm under the impression that she had people living there, and when she was putting them to bed and whatnot, it was so that she could have time with the visitor and whatnot, and instead of making time to correct that baby behavior or have the girls incorporated in that time, it was like, oh, well, SW has a friend to play with, and it's just sad. That's really sad. But as she was a nanny, she knew about nannying. That would have been a perfect solution. Mothering toddlers is not for the weak. I mean, she just might not have been somebody who wanted to deal with all that comes with motherhood. That happens. And if she would have just done that, I mean, if she would have gotten an au pair, a nanny from another country, and then they would have taken care of the girls all day, had fun with the girls all day, then she could have, sat in her office and, pretended to do shit and spend all of her money. I mean, the girls would have been taken care of. There were solutions, and that's an easy one. I saw it all the time when I worked in high-end retail, and this one woman was getting ready to go on a cruise, and so she told me that, very specifically what she needed and for the kids and whatnot, and I went to the biggest location that we had, and I had them close down a whole side of fitting rooms for me, like the boys' fitting rooms, and I just, I staged everything all out for all the kids, so each kid had all these outfits they could pick from and whatnot, on the wall, and she came in, and she had her au pair with her, and it was terrible, because, the mom was just on her cell phone, ignoring everything, and the au pair is sitting there, helping me, try on all these clothes for the kids and whatnot, and the kids would go running off or whatever, and, and she'd go and chase them, and I said, oh my gosh, she's so nice, she's so attentive to the kids, she just makes sure she's right on top of it. And the mom looks up from her cell phone for a second, and she goes, well, she should. It's her job. I was like, oh my God, ma'am. Whoa. Still nice. You still say thank you. But anyway, I think she was probably in the same financial situation because, she bought about $7,500 worth of clothes that day. I was so happy because I was on commission. But the problem with that high-end commission at that store is that when they return it, it comes back out of your commission. So my heart broke a little bit more and a little bit more every time she returned every single thing I sold her after she had worn it. Put it on the kids had worn it for the cruise and for the summer, and yeah. So it would have been a perfect solution for her. She could have been on the cell phone, ignoring her kids. The au pair would have been there. The girls would have loved it. The girls just absolutely thrived. Oh, God. When I cannot, was like, Freudian slip. The girls just absolutely came to life when they had somebody else, paying attention to them and seeing the grandparents just love on them. And it, like I said the other night, it really, really bothered me how sad Cece was when Grandpa was gone. And her little sad face. And then when she filmed how sad they were when Christina went back to Hawaii, they were bawling. Because I think that, you know, after her surgery, she probably, you know, just took the pain pills and just kind of zorked out and let Christina play with the kids. And I don't think that Christina would lock them up and whatnot, and I don't think that SW would tell her to. But I don't know. I don't know if those rules were informed when there was live-ins. But the sadness that they had when Christina was gone, it just really speaks to me. That's not normal. It's not normal to be so happy when somebody else comes and loves you. And then when you're stuck with your flowers in the attic mom, you know? It's not normal. But in the end of the day, SW gave us an amazing gift. She gave us this gift. There is no reality show that anybody would go on and brag about the shit she did. Because no one would do it. No one would do it and brag about it. But for some reason, this woman had it in her head that it was normal. And like I say, we're going to do the MLM concept. And we're going to develop a pyramid here of like-minded truth warriors, TWs. We're the truth warriors. And we are going to continue to spread the truth. And when we go into another chat and we see it being dominated by the controlled narrative of the others, and they sit there and talk about how this and this, and oh, this didn't happen and this didn't happen, you're going to direct them to where they can see that it happened. And that's where Neek Speaks does that work. That's where Kelly does the amazing work. And you're going to tell them to listen to me. Because, like I say, they can do anything while they're listening to me. You can totally do everything else. And then let's let the talented creators do the really good and fun stuff. So thank you, Truth Warriors. Thank you for being a TW. And for you TWATS, just go on. Go. Or stay with me and learn something. Okay? Thank you all. I hope you all are going to have a great week. I will probably get back to this book tomorrow. We'll probably do a chapter in that. And I will talk about the dangers of nightly Tylenol tomorrow, but they're pretty well known. I didn't expect to find so much on the danger of Benadryl. Oh, one quick note. Right now on TikTok, there is the Benadryl challenge. These teenagers are doing stupid shit with Benadryl. And somebody very, very close to me tried to take her own life with a Benadryl overdose. And that's a story for another day. But the bottom line is she ended up in a coma very, very soon after. And the doctors didn't recognize what was going on because Benadryl is very, very different and metabolizes so fast. The damage is done fast. People are dying from the TikTok challenge. And teenagers are dying from overdosing on Benadryl. I didn't want to go down that. But I need you to pay attention to social media trends. And when you see it and you see the TikTok challenge on Benadryl, really, really don't forward that. Unsubscribe. Report the person who's doing it. Tell them about the dangers of Benadryl. Watch what your teens are doing. Make sure that your teenagers know the dangers of Benadryl and not to engage in the TikTok habit. TikTok. Okay? All right, y'all. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening and for 3 hours. Woot woot. Bye-bye.